Imagine this. You are standing at the precipice of a silent chasm, the wind whispering tales of what once was. A relationship, once a vibrant tapestry of shared dreams and intertwined souls, now lies in tatters, leaving behind the chilling echo of absence. The man, a protagonist in this quiet drama, is left grappling with a void, haunted by the question, why did she leave? Yet, what if the narrative you've clung to is merely a shadow play, a distortion of a profound inner transformation? What if her departure wasn't an abandonment of you, but a courageous, arduous journey into the uncharted territories of herself? This isn't a story about a woman leaving. It's a profound exploration of a woman finding. It's a journey into the depths of self-discovery, a narrative often misread, misunderstood, and rarely celebrated for the immense courage it demands. Consider Alara, a woman whose life had, for years, been meticulously woven into the fabric of another's existence. Her days revolved around Leo, her partner, his desires, his comfort, his world. She was the steady anchor, the quiet supporter, the one who effortlessly anticipated his needs before he even voiced them. Their love story, from the outside, appeared idyllic, a harmonious ballet of two souls moving in perfect synchronicity. Yet, beneath the polished surface of their seemingly perfect union, a subtle dissonance began to hum. Alara, once a vibrant artist with a spirit as wild and untamed as the canvases she adored, found her colors fading, her strokes becoming hesitant. Her laughter, once a spontaneous melody, began to sound rehearsed, a performance for an audience of one. She felt a pervasive sense of unfulfillment, a gnawing emptiness that no external validation, no shared moment of joy, could truly quell. It was as if a vital part of her, her true self, was slowly atrophying, suffocated by the very comfort she had built around herself. She would often stare at her reflection, searching for the spark that once ignited her eyes, only to be met with a stranger, a pale imitation of the woman she remembered. This quiet desperation was her constant companion, a secret kept hidden beneath layers of practiced smiles and reassuring gestures. One evening, while Leo was engrossed in his usual routine, a documentary on ancient civilizations flickered on the television. A segment on forgotten matriarchal societies caught Alara's attention. The women depicted were not defined by their relationships but by their intrinsic power, their connection to the earth, their wisdom. A tremor ran through her, a faint echo of a buried truth. Later that week, a chance encounter with an old university friend, Anya, a fierce and independent woman who had pursued her passions relentlessly, stirred something deeper. Anya spoke of solo travels, of reclaiming lost hobbies, of the exhilaration of self-reliance. As Anya passionately described her experiences, Alara felt a pang of longing, a quiet whisper of a life unlived, a path untaken. The contrast between Anya's vibrant autonomy and her own subtle stagnation became stark, almost unbearable. This was not about wanting what Anya had, but about recognizing what she had lost within herself. The seed of disquiet that had been subtly germinating finally began to sprout. The inner turmoil intensified. Alara found solace in long walks, often ending up by the river, watching the relentless flow of the water. Each ripple seemed to mirror a forgotten dream, a stifled ambition. She began to journal, tentatively at first, then with a fervent urgency, spilling out the unspoken anxieties, the suppressed desires, the profound sense of losing herself in the reflection of another. She wrote about her art, about the vibrant colors that now seemed locked away, about the stories she longed to tell but had no voice for. The more she wrote, the more clarity emerged. She realized her identity had become so deeply intertwined with Leo's that she no longer knew where he ended and she began. This realization was a chilling revelation, a stark confrontation with a self she barely recognized. The fear was immense, fear of the unknown, fear of hurting Leo, fear of shattering the comfortable illusion they had built. But beneath the fear, a deeper, more primal urge began to stir. The instinct for self-preservation, for reclamation. One afternoon, while tidying a forgotten box of old sketches, Alara stumbled upon a self-portrait she had drawn years ago, before Leo. The eyes in the drawing sparkled with an audacious spirit, a fearless curiosity. It was a mirror to a self she had almost forgotten, a testament to the vibrant woman she once was. The juxtaposition with her current reflection was jarring, almost painful. It solidified a nascent conviction. She had to rediscover that woman. The decision, when it finally coalesced, was not a sudden explosion but a quiet, internal implosion. It was a recognition that her soul was suffocating, that the vibrant artist within was slowly dying. It wasn't about finding fault with Leo. It was about finding herself. The words, when she finally spoke them to him, were not accusatory but deeply, profoundly sad. "I need to find myself again, Leo," she had whispered, her voice barely audible over the tremor in her hands. "I've lost who I am." The bewildered look on his face, the immediate assumption of betrayal or disinterest, was a painful confirmation of the unspoken truth. He had never truly seen the woman she was becoming, only the woman she had been, serving his needs. Alara's journey was not a flight from love, but an arduous ascent towards individuation. She embodied the archetype of the seeker, a soul compelled to venture beyond the familiar, to confront the shadows of her own suppression, and to reclaim the lost fragments of her authentic self. Her transformation underscores the profound truth that often, what appears to be a departure is, in essence, a return to one's own core being. The pain Leo experienced, while valid, was a projection of his own unconscious expectations and perhaps his unacknowledged fears of abandonment. This is the essence of ego projection, where one's internal struggles are externalized onto another. To you, who might be grappling with the bewildering absence of someone you loved, consider this. Her leaving may have been an act of profound self-love, a vital step in her own healing journey. What if her departure, though painful for you, was the necessary catalyst for her to finally confront her own shadow self, the parts she had denied, the dreams she had deferred, the voice she had silenced? This isn't about blaming anyone, but about understanding the deeper psychological currents at play. Embrace the possibility that her choice, while it may have shattered your world, was an affirmation of her own existence, a bold declaration that she deserved to be whole. Instead of dwelling in the narratives of rejection, turn inward. What unexamined parts of yourself are being illuminated by this absence? What growth is being demanded of you? For in the crucible of loss, true self-discovery often begins. The profound quiet that follows a significant departure is rarely empty. It's often filled with the silent, resonating echoes of unasked questions and unexamined truths. If her initial departure was a brave step into the unknown, then the second, equally vital aspect often overlooked in these narratives is the tumultuous, challenging journey of rebuilding. This isn't merely about moving on. It's about constructing a new internal architecture, brick by painstaking brick, from the remnants of what was. It's the arduous, often solitary work of confronting the very foundations of one's identity, stripped bare of the familiar structures of a shared life. Consider the timeless wisdom embedded in the words of Carl Jung, a beacon in the humanistic psychology movement. The curious paradox is that when I accept myself as I am, then I can change. This profound statement, seemingly simple, holds the key to understanding the deeper currents at play when a woman, or indeed any individual, embarks on the transformative path of finding herself after dissolving a significant relationship. It's a direct challenge to the societal narrative that often casts a woman's departure as a failure of love or commitment, rather than recognizing it as an act of radical self-acceptance and a precursor to authentic growth. When Alara chose to leave, she wasn't just walking away from a relationship. She was stepping into a void of self-discovery. Her initial steps were tentative, shrouded in a mist of uncertainty and guilt. The world, which had always felt securely anchored by Leo's presence, now seemed to ripple with unfamiliar currents. This disorienting phase is where Rogers's paradox truly begins to unfold. For years, Alara had unconsciously shaped herself to fit into the mold of Leo's ideal partner, suppressing her own burgeoning desires and dismissing her evolving needs as selfish. She had, in essence, failed to accept herself as she was, constantly striving to be the woman she thought she should be for him. This external validation became her compass, leading her further and further from her own internal true north. The initial days and weeks post-separation were a maelstrom of emotions. There were moments of profound loneliness, the echoing silence of the apartment amplifying her inner turmoil. There was guilt, a heavy shroud, whispering doubts about her decision, questioning if she had made a terrible mistake. And then there was anger, a simmering rage at herself for having lost so much of who she was, for having allowed her vibrant essence to be diluted. This chaotic emotional landscape is precisely where the work of self-acceptance must begin. It's not about condoning past choices, but about acknowledging the present reality without judgment. It's about facing the raw, uncomfortable emotions that arise when the external scaffolding of a relationship is removed, revealing the often unsettling landscape of the unvarnished self. Alara found herself confronting her shadow work head-on. The parts of her that she had deemed undesirable, her fierce independence, her desire for solitude, her unapologetic ambition, had been tucked away, hidden even from herself, for fear of disrupting the perceived harmony of her relationship. Now, in the stark light of her newfound autonomy, these aspects demanded recognition. She began to see how she had projected her own unspoken desires for freedom onto others, silently resenting their perceived liberation while stifling her own. The realization was both painful and liberating. She started to understand that her self-worth had become tethered to Leo's approval, a precarious connection that had left her feeling perpetually incomplete. In her solitude, Alara began to experiment with the very things she had neglected. She revisited her art studio, initially just staring at the blank canvases, the colors seemingly mocking her lost inspiration. But slowly, tentatively, she picked up a brush. The first strokes were hesitant, awkward, reflecting her internal fragmentation. Yet, with each brushstroke, a small piece of her began to re-emerge. She wasn't painting for anyone's gaze but her own, a pure, unadulterated act of creation. This was a direct application of Albert Bandura's concept of self-efficacy, the belief in one's ability to succeed in specific situations. Each successful brushstroke, no matter how small, reinforced her growing belief in her capacity to create, to be, to thrive independently. She also sought out new experiences, venturing beyond her comfort zone. A solo hike in the mountains, an experience she would have once deemed impossible without Leo, became a profound encounter with her own resilience. Standing atop a windswept peak, the vastness of the world stretching before her, Alara felt a surge of strength, a profound connection to her own intrinsic power. The physical challenge mirrored the internal one, and each arduous step forward on the trail was a metaphor for her journey of self-reclamation. She began to consciously practice mindfulness, drawing inspiration from Stoic principles of focusing on what is within one's control. She learned to observe her thoughts without judgment, acknowledging the pain and the fear, but refusing to be consumed by them. This deliberate cultivation of inner stillness became her refuge, a sanctuary in the midst of her emotional landscape. The transformation wasn't linear. There were days of profound regression, moments when the old anxieties would resurface with startling intensity. But each time, Alara would return to her art, to her walks, to her journals, engaging in a dialogue with herself, gently coaxing herself back to the path of self-acceptance. She discovered the power of her own internal voice, the inner guide that Carl Jung often referred to, leading her towards authenticity. This was the work of individuation, the lifelong psychological process of differentiating oneself from the collective and developing one's unique personality. It wasn't about becoming someone else, but about becoming more fully herself, shedding the layers of external expectations and societal conditioning. Alara's journey of rebuilding underscores a crucial point. When a woman leaves a relationship to find herself, it is rarely an act of capriciousness or malice. It is, more often than not, an urgent existential necessity. She is not rejecting the other person as much as she is embracing her own inherent need for wholeness. The archetype she embodies is that of the phoenix, rising from the ashes of a past self, reborn through the fiery crucible of self-confrontation and a radical commitment to her own well-being. This process, though painful for those left behind, is ultimately an act of profound courage and a testament to the human spirit's innate drive towards growth and self-actualization. Consider your own reactions when confronted with such a departure. Are you quick to assign blame, to cast the departing individual as uncaring or selfish? Or can you pause, step back, and contemplate the deeper psychological currents that might be at play? What if, instead of viewing her departure as a personal attack, you saw it as a powerful act of reclaiming an authentic self? This shift in perspective can be transformative, not just for understanding her, but for understanding your own patterns of attachment and self-worth. For in recognizing her need for self-acceptance, you might just uncover your own. The tempest of self-discovery, while often isolating, culminates in a quiet, profound dawn. If the initial departure was the severing of old ties and the subsequent rebuilding was the arduous labor of self-acceptance, then the third, most transformative aspect of this journey is the reemergence, the woman, fully integrated, standing in the fullness of her own being, not as a reaction to what was lost, but as an affirmation of what has been found. This isn't just about surviving. It's about thriving, about cultivating a life rooted in inner wisdom and genuine self-worth, a stark contrast to the previous state of quiet atrophy. Consider the enduring wisdom of William James, the father of American psychology, who once asserted, "The greatest use of life is to spend it for something that will outlast it." While James often spoke of purpose in grand, philosophical terms, his words hold a deeply personal resonance for the woman who has embarked on the journey of finding herself. Her something that will outlast it is not necessarily a monument or a legacy in the traditional sense, but the unwavering foundation of an authentic, resilient self. It is the internal landscape she has meticulously cultivated, a sanctuary that can withstand the inevitable storms of life. Alara's journey of reemergence was not a dramatic unveiling but a gradual unfurling, like a tightly wound blossom finally opening to the sun. The initial emotional turbulence began to subside, replaced by a sense of calm, a quiet confidence that settled deep within her. The guilt, once a persistent shadow, faded as she recognized her decision not as a rejection of Leo, but as an essential act of self-preservation. She understood, with a profound clarity that only comes from lived experience, that her well-being was her own responsibility, and that sacrificing it for the comfort of another ultimately served neither of them. This was the embodiment of modern self-worth, not derived from external validation or relationship status, but from an intrinsic sense of value and a deep respect for her own emotional and psychological needs. She found herself gravitating towards activities that fueled her soul, rather than drained it. Her art, once a forgotten passion, became a vibrant expression of her renewed spirit. The colors on her canvas were bolder, the strokes more confident, reflecting the internal landscape she had meticulously rebuilt. She began to sell her paintings, not for fame or fortune, but because sharing her creations felt like an extension of her own newfound voice. This was her purpose, not a grand, external one, but a deeply personal, soul-affirming one that resonated with her authentic self. Alara also deepened her engagement with the principles of Stoicism, particularly the teachings of Seneca and Marcus Aurelius. She learned to differentiate between what was within her control and what was not. The lingering pain of the past, the what-ifs, the societal judgments, these were external factors, beyond her grasp. What she could control was her response, her internal state, her commitment to her own growth. She started a daily meditation practice, dedicating time to stillness, to observing her thoughts without attachment, and to cultivating a sense of inner peace. This wasn't about avoiding emotion but about mastering it, about becoming the observer rather than the victim of her own emotional states. She engaged in regular physical activity, long runs through the park, feeling the rhythm of her breath, the strength in her legs, a physical manifestation of her psychological resilience. This was her way of grounding herself, of connecting with her body as a vessel for her revitalized spirit. Her interactions with others also transformed. No longer did she seek external approval or mold herself to fit others' expectations. Her conversations were more authentic, her presence more grounded. She listened with genuine curiosity and spoke with quiet conviction. This shift stemmed from a profound understanding of anima/animus integration, the Jungian concept of embracing the opposing gender qualities within oneself. Alara had always been nurturing and empathetic, qualities often associated with the feminine anima. Now, she was also embracing her assertive, independent, and goal-oriented aspects, qualities often associated with the masculine animus. This internal balance allowed her to stand more fully in her power, radiating a quiet strength that was deeply attractive. One afternoon, a chance encounter with Leo occurred at a local market. The air crackled with unspoken history, but Alara felt a surprising calm. There was no resentment, no lingering pain, only a quiet acknowledgement of a shared past. Leo, still visibly reeling from the separation, looked at her with a mixture of confusion and awe. "You seem different," he stammered. Alara simply smiled, a genuine, radiant smile that reached her eyes. "I am," she replied, her voice steady and clear. "I found myself." This wasn't a taunt, but a statement of simple truth, a testament to the arduous internal journey she had undertaken. She realized that her healing wasn't dependent on Leo's understanding or validation. It was a self-contained victory, a testament to her own resilience. Alara, in her journey, embodies the fully realized self-actualized individual, as described by Carl Rogers and Abraham Maslow. She didn't leave you. She transcended the limitations of a relationship that, however loving, had inadvertently stifled her growth. Her departure was the necessary first step on a path towards profound psychological healing, a journey away from external validation and towards an unwavering internal compass. It was an act of profound self-love, a commitment to her own individuation. The pain you may feel is valid, but it is not a reflection of your inadequacy. Instead, it is an invitation to examine your own projections, your own shadow, and to embark on your own path of self-discovery. If you are a man grappling with the absence of a woman who chose to find herself, understand that her transformation is not a judgment on your worth, but a powerful affirmation of her own. Her journey can serve as a potent mirror, reflecting back to you areas in your own life where you might be compromising your authentic self. Instead of focusing on the void she left, ask yourself, what parts of myself have I neglected? What whispers of unmet needs have I silenced? This is an opportunity for profound growth, for your own journey of introspection and reemergence. Embrace this moment not as an ending, but as a courageous new beginning for both of you, albeit on separate paths. Her finding herself might just be the catalyst for you to begin searching for yours. If you find this story resonating with your own experiences, or if you recognize yourself within its narrative, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment to help our channel feel from you. And if you know someone who needs to hear this message, please send them this video as a necessary share. Thanks for watching. The end.